So before I start this video, I want to make it clear that this video is going to be pretty serious as it covers topics of depression, neurodivergency, cyberbullying, and poor self-esteem. So if you're not used to these type of topics, then I highly recommend you click off this video instantly. But for those who want to stick around, well, then I'll tell you guys my story. If you guys never heard my voice before, then I'll say it now. I am the older brother of this channel, and I am the one who made the Cat and Machine and OMFG Starfire animation, which has been the two projects that I've put the most effort in so far. Also, for a bit of context about who I am in general, I am on the autism spectrum disorder, which has made it pretty difficult for me to socialize with people, understand social cues, and basically be a quote-unquote normal person in general. Now, for my current social life with real people, it has been going so great, and people started respecting me. I mean, not to the point where I got their contacts or anything, or made actual friendships with them. We usually just have a good time together and part ways. But for Discord, it currently leaves a lot to be desired. And there was one incident in particular that made me question if I should really change my personality as a whole. Now, before I get into the incident in particular, I want to talk about some not so humble beginnings I've had with the server because, well, I was usually under the impression that I had to be myself in order to make people interested in me as a person. So I basically became myself by saying random crap and expressing my game ideas. And even there were moments where I would talk like a bot. And that led to some people making pretty negative assumptions about me and who I am as a person. And even if I let people know that I am on the spectrum, it didn't really make things any better, even if some people were aware of that. I mean, every server needs to treat every server member as equals. And even if I was an equal, I still wasn't immune to criticism or maybe moments of possible cyberbullying. So the people in the server would usually try to help each other when people are currently going through some difficult times, when they express their frustrations in the server. I was one of those people that would usually vent in the server and express on how I'm currently going through depression and how rough my life has been. And honestly, being depressed, especially during high school, made it feel like a very horrendous school experience, which is something I have been desperately trying to snap out of, but I couldn't really get out of my funk. So when my therapist wasn't around, I had to talk with people on Discord so I could get a glimpse of how they've tried to handle their depression and see if there were any possible methods I could do to snap out of it. Right now I'm currently exercising and I'm trying to get a momentum going, but it seems that not enough progress has been made, and the progress wasn't really fast enough to improve my chances of making rational decisions when talking with people. I mean, they weren't fully aware of what's going on in my mind, but their tone constantly emphasized that they didn't want to hear it, especially that they're already fully aware of what I'm going to talk about. Some members in particular constantly pointed out how I'm constantly moping in the servers and doing nothing about my problems. And the thing is, I have been trying and trying and trying, but it seems that not enough progress has been made for me to change what's already been done. Now, to be honest, I did do my fair share of trauma dumping since I wanted to get stuff off of my chest in other servers. And that was an action I wasn't really proud of, but the thing is, I pretty much needed someone to talk to. Now, we all know for a fact that bottling up your emotions could lead to some pretty bad stuff happening, and it's always a bad thing to keep silent about what's going on in your mind, especially when you're not feeling good. Now, throughout my depressive journey, I have been dealing with many obstacles to the point where I struggled to do my homework when it came to school, socialize with others in school, and trying to maintain a positive attitude in front of people in general. Now, I currently have a therapist that I see every 2 weeks, and while I appreciate her efforts to help me change as a person, being able to see her every 2 weeks just didn't really feel like enough, since I usually get a feeling that I just don't talk to her enough. But at the same time, it's pretty clear that I could currently do nothing about it since she has to deal with other clients who are probably going through way worse stuff than me. Honestly, looking back on this, I'm honestly still glad to have a therapist, because if I never had a therapist or anyone to talk to about my personal problems, then I feel that things probably would have been a lot worse, and I probably would have been in an even deeper depression than I already am now. Now, this is the part where I discuss the incident in Discord and how that made me question my morality and if I should change my personality as an entirely. It also made me question if I even have a correct sense of social decency or any self-awareness, because no matter how self-aware I was with my problems, I never really changed, and that's something I'm honestly not proud of. Now, if you look at the screenshot here, I got a warning from one of the server moderators because I was constantly misusing channels. And by misuse, I mean discussing why my brothers are always too busy to hang out with me in the venting channel. I was feeling pretty lonely at the moment, so I was not really in the right headspace. And when I posted that, they ended up giving me a warning for that, and they even decided to remove my access to the venting channel, which means I could no longer discuss anything negative in the server. Now, this action in general pretty much inhibited my chances of expressing about what's been going on in my mind and why I'm the way I am. But as you can see in the moderator notes, they've given me the advice I needed multiple times, and I was just too depressed to follow through with that. And so they decided to remove my access to the venting channel just so I don't flood the messages with my personal problems. They were under the impression that I was basically an attention seeker who basically wanted attention because I was being ignored in the server, and I didn't really mean to do that on purpose. Usually I just have trouble thinking before I speak because, I don't know, most of the time I'm just not really in a really good headspace, and it's just really hard to fit in with people, especially when you're like this as a person. Now, this is only my first warning in the server, and I didn't do anything alarmingly bad. It's just that I was just being too much of a public nuisance in the server, and the moderators were getting tired of my shenanigans. And some people resorted to giving me some advice on how to be better as a person by being on topic, and I did try to do that. At first it seemed like I was making some level of progress, but the second warning I got from the server is where things really went downhill for me. Now, when it came to the second warning I got, it basically all started when some guy subscribed to my YouTube channel without me even asking him to do so. I probably should have just said that I appreciate it and then just moved on to the next topic. But then I decided to go on a tangent about why I wanted to get an audience the right way, and I told the guy in particular that he didn't really have to. Now, the guy in particular respected my ambitions and the fact that I wanted to get an audience the right way, but the other people in the server didn't really take too kindly to that. Some of them even made jokes about how I was sad all the time and how I was the most miserable person in the server. And Some of them even made jokes about the fact that I was muted, and none of them really sympathized with me when I said that I wanted to make an audience the right way. So basically, the entire server was basically just dogpiling on me just for being too ambitious by going on a tangent. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it really, really hurt. I've handled my fair share of insults and backlash in the server, but this instant of where the entire server dogpiled on me and made fun of the fact that I was the most sad person in the server, it really, really hurt me. Now, I told my friends about this on Discord, and they seemed to take my side. They even gave me a few ideas, but all of them were pretty bad, to be honest, and would probably make me look like an even worse of a person. And even though I really appreciate having friends around to support me when I'm feeling down, it still wasn't enough to make me forget that I was dogpiled in the server just for being quote unquote sad all the time and constantly moping around just because I'm having prolonged personal struggles that haven't been resolved in a really long time. So, because of the fact that I was in a pretty bad spot, I irrationally barged into someone's DMs and told them about what happened, and they didn't really appreciate the fact that I was trauma dumping in their VMs. So I apologized for it and told them that it was hard for me to make rational decisions when I'm feeling down. And then when I came back from a social group that I was having a pretty great time in, I was happy. When I came to my laptop, to my dismay, I was banned from the server. Now, judging by the moderator message, it kind of seemed like that they really don't want me to come back, and it pretty much emphasizes the point that I am just no longer welcome here. There were no harassment campaigns made against me. There were no last words to bash my actions. It's just that I was just permanently banned from the server and they really don't want to see me again. So with that, I pretty much have no place to discuss topics relating to hack and slash games. I didn't really expect things to get this bad, especially the fact that I didn't do anything critical for me to receive this level of punishment. All I did was be off topic, derail conversations, and I just wanted to be myself, but it seems like the server didn't want to deal with my crap anymore, so they decided to just boot me from the server entirely. So basically with that, I honestly don't know what to do for now. I am going to continue to work on myself though, but for Discord, I don't really have a place to discuss hack and slash games, since one game in particular changed my view on video games, and it's a real shame that I was banned from the one server based off of the game that changed my view on video games for life. Now, I want to end off the video with some advice and a disclaimer to please do not attack anyone mentioned in this video, even though I've censored everyone's names. And also some advice: please think before you speak, and just don't make the same mistakes I did, because stuff like this could possibly happen to you, and you could pretty much become infamous and be an outcast. This video was completely unscripted, and I basically made this video the moment that I was banned from the server in particular, so there might be a few contradictions or a few verbal slip-ups. Feel free to let me know in the comments. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, but I'm going to try to take this as a learning experience and just try to be better as a person. I mean, I really hope I don't feel like that, because it seems to me that it's currently too late for me to make a difference in that server. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Goodbye.